Hey guys, this is Ree, where I come to talk to you about what I have either read in the blogs, watched on TV, or heard in these streets. Today it is about what I have watched on TV. We are wrapping up Married at First Sight, season 14, the reunion. Let's just wrap up both reunions in one video. So let's get some of these couples out of the way. It's just going to be my overall thoughts on things. So Alyssa and Chris, I do not understand why they brought Alyssa back, but I guess they wanted to give her just a way to explain herself. And Alyssa remains true to her delusional behind. She remains true to this. I've tried. You guys didn't give me what I want. And I'm so glad that Dr. Viviana, who, by the way, Dr. Viviana, this is her last season. She will not be continuing on with Married at First Sight. And I felt like she handled this reunion with a bang. She literally spoke her mind. And I'm grateful for that. I'm so glad that she pulled out her phone and pulled out exactly what Alyssa asked for. And the moment she did that, Alyssa starts crying. And she's just like, well, you guys, I thought you said I wouldn't be attacked. Girl, no one is attacking you. We're holding you accountable. Something that no one in your life has clearly not done for you. And as long as you lack accountability, you have no business being anyone's spouse. Because even if they would have gave you the guy that you wanted, it still would have been some form of an issue. Like it's baffling to me that she believes that she is just this great person. And it is very clear that the only reason why she has kept any connections with some of the other cast members is because you still wanted a connection to the show. Let's be real. That's it. You just wanted a connection to be in the mix. You did not come here for marriage. You came here to get you a new circle of friends. And that is very high school of you, and it's ridiculous. So glad that Chris ended things early. He did say that if he would have seen a bunch of the things that she was saying to the producers behind his back, he would have ended it even sooner. Even sooner. Like, Alyssa is ridiculous. And as far as her spat with Lindsey, I was on Lindsey's side. There was no need for you to constantly be around. As far as Lindsey with Katina, like, let's address that quickly while we're here, since this was over Alyssa. What I've learned is that those girls, they have already, written Lindsey off. They've written her off, right? Between Lindsey and Alyssa, they're choosing Alyssa because they find her to be the less annoying one for, a number of reasons, both of what we've seen on camera and off. But they are choosing Alyssa. And you could tell it through some of their conversations towards Lindsey regarding Alyssa. But yeah, no, Alyssa has no business being on this show. And I'm glad that we wrapped up her segment very quickly and just let that be that, for her to give a reason as far as what she thinks some of the other girls should have, and like Jasmina and a spouse. Girl, Alyssa, you weren't even on the show to know what she needs in a spouse. But we move on. Let's get Steve and Noi out of the way. Okay, they're doing well. The only hiccup is that Noi has kept her old apartment. She has still completely not moved in. Noi is very childish to me. And Steve has a lot of patience. Steve has just as much patience as people say Katina has with O. Like, Steve has a lot of patience when it comes to Noi, and which shows that he really likes her. But yeah, Noi, I would have been done with her a long time ago. But yeah, they're doing fine for the most part. She's just a little bit childish, but they are figuring it out together. Do I think they'll last for the long haul? Yes. And they're going to last because of Steve's patience. Because most people would have been done with Noi, but the patience keeps them lasting, whatever. We move on. Let's get Katina and Elijah out of the way. Okay, so Elijah has an epiphany after watching himself on TV, and he realizes that, he was a donkey, politely put. I'm glad that he realized that. I was really shocked. Well, not shocked, but I was shocked that they lasted this long, to be honest with you. But I did not want Katina to say yes on decision day because I just thought she was just putting herself through a bunch of misery and torture due to, Olajuwon's previous barbaric caveman mentality. But, thanks to TV, he has had an epiphany and he was forced to look at himself in the mirror and recognize that, yeah, dude, you were very toxic. And that mindset is going to mentally drain your wife. You know what I mean? And he recognized that. And it made him even more appreciative of Katina because he thought that he was like the catch. And now he's realizing like, yo, like this girl is putting up with me while the world is tearing me apart. And she is seeing something in me that clearly no one else is seeing. You know what I mean? So it helped him to recognize the beauty in her and the queen mentality in her. And as long as he continues with that and he continues growing, then maybe they can go far. And, at this point, now I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. So that's good. We move on. Let's get Jasmina and Michael out of the way. Jasmina is an Alyssa. Jasmina is an Alyssa. You did not see Mike as your mate and you gaslighted him numerous of times and you pulled the aggressive act. And I'm with Mike. You cannot use terms like aggressive, especially with a black man. And if he feels that he wasn't aggressive, and we've seen you on camera just over exaggerate things that even your best friend says that you over exaggerate. And you spoke with him numerous times as if he was one of your students and not someone that is your spouse. And you took it for granted. There was no reason why you guys said yes on decision day. But I don't feel bad for Mike. Because Mike, you went through the whole time speaking like, hey, you know what? I came in this for a wife, not for a spouse. Like, you would have said no if she said no. And be like, yeah, you're right. And then the moment she says yes, you know what? Yeah, we can continue to make this work. You should have had the spirit of Gil, where he was like, listen, if I don't get no type of affection before decision day, it's a no for me. That girl has not kissed you since the day of your marriage. That girl has not shown you any signs of affection. She handled you as if she was the one saving you, like as if she didn't come with her own trauma. And it was ridiculous. She is another Alyssa. You didn't want Mike, but you wanted to remain for the experience for whatever reason, which is sad. And yeah, like I totally see why Jasmine, as beautiful as she is single. Hopefully she grows from this, but based on the reunion, it sounds like everyone was putting this on Mike. Oh, you should have done more. You should have taken initiative. What initiative would a woman that is constantly telling you that she is not attracted to you and she, is not sexually aroused and she's condescending and talking down? Like, what initiative? Initiative should have been when he was planning dates and going extra step and being vulnerable. That's initiative. Like, what in the world? Yeah, we're not going to put this all on Mike. So let's keep going. Let's move on to the meat and the potatoes, which is Lindsey and Mark. Lindsey is one of the most toxic wives or toxic people, period, that has ever appeared on Married at First Sight. Lindsey is a projector. Lindsey is miserable. Lindsey is insecure. And Lindsey is just abusive and toxic. Lindsey literally took advantage of Mark's fragility and Mark's passive behavior. And she literally will rip him a new one. I can imagine the conversations that went on off screen just by the way she was ripping him one on screen. She was going out of her way to humiliate him on screen. So absolutely, I believe Mark when he says that she spit on his shirt. Absolutely, I believe Mark when he says that the constant bullying and the conversation just got worse and worse. I believe him wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. And you can look on Lindsey's face as Mark is explaining. She was smitten by her behavior. Lindsey is a vile woman. And Lindsey is one of these vile people that thinks that because when you give out turkey on Thanksgiving Day, or you help someone here or there, then now this makes you a good person. You are as much as you laughed at Alyssa for constantly saying, oh, I'm a good person, knowing that she was showing the opposite. Lindsey, you exhibited those same traits as Alyssa. You just wasn't constantly saying, I'm a good person, but you were definitely constantly throwing out of the quote unquote good things that you did for him. So what's the difference? You kept throwing that out as if it would excuse, just like Mike said, as if it would counter and override your most toxic, vile, disgusting behavior to that man, on screen and off screen. And it did not. Lindsey is horrible. And the fact that the staff and Olajuwon and everyone had to convince you into why you needed to apologize. If I was Mike, I would have said, save it. It does not matter. You do not mean it. No one should have to talk you into it. You don't mean it. You think that you are above Mark, and you use that to combat your insecurities and to deflect from the trauma in your own life. You have trauma with your own mother, and you're constantly throwing in his mother. Like Lindsey is one of those people that got so much chaos and dysfunction in her own life, but if she sees you slightly worse, she wants to hold a microphone to you. She wants to deflect, because then it makes her feel good, because then it's like, well, my situation is not as bad as his. Girl, your situation is still bad. It's like somebody that's 500 pounds and someone that's 400 pounds making fun of someone that's 500 pounds and going, hey guys, look at this big person. Look at this type of person. As if it will make the 400-pound one, just because you're slightly, you weigh slightly less than the person, as if it changes the fact that you are still overweight as well. Right? As if this will block people from recognizing that you're overweight as well. Yeah, those people are going to now disrespect or laugh at the 500 person that you're cracking joke with, but it doesn't change the fact that you are still big. Just like that one that you're trying to make fun of. That is Lindsey. Lindsey thinks that you're constantly making fun of Mark's matter, and whether it been with the mother matter, whether it been with the house situation, all of that, you think that it makes you better. When he wanted to go back to work, you didn't want him working, not because you wanted him to spend more time with you, because you wanted to keep him lower than you. You want to keep him in this function that he will continuously need you. And as long as he's continuously needing you, you feel like you are in a position to continuously belittle, humiliate, and abuse him. You want to keep him in this needing state. And Mark, I don't feel bad for you either, because you knew that Lindsey wasn't the one for you. You was using her as well. You were using her. You knew that you lost your roach-infested place. You need a place to rest your head. You knew that you were down on your luck with work. You needed stability. You used her as well. But Lindsey, you wanted that using. Both of you were vile. And the moment that Mark got in a position to better himself, he turned on her and was like, and recognized, listen, that's one too many arguments. You know what? You don't have to live here. And now Lindsey is like, crap. You're more upset because, dang, man. Now he's doing good enough to where he no longer needs me. And now you're back to square one, where you are forced to look in the mirror. because now he separated himself from you. Now you done moved across the freaking state, no, across the freaking continent. You done took yourself to California. You done moved all across and took yourself to California to escape what you just went through. But it's going to follow you everywhere, Lindsey, because you have to heal. If you were doing this with Mark on TV, I can only imagine what you were doing with your previous fiance that forced him to call off the wedding. What was it, like a week or two before the wedding? Yeah. Like that previous fiance, I know him and his family watched this season and felt validated. Like I told you, that girl is ridiculous. And the fact that this has happened twice, and instead of you looking within and going, yeah, it's things I need to work on myself, you're steady saying, you know what, he's beneath me. Like he's not smart. He's not this. Like you're saying all these things in an attempt to put him down. You're not smart, Lindsey. Having a nursing degree doesn't mean that you're smart. It just means that you're disciplined enough to finish school. You're not better than Mark, Lindsey. If anything, your character and your behavior, since you want to put people on levels, it actually puts you below them. I wouldn't want you as a friend. No one has, just because you have a sweet side doesn't mean that it overrides your disgusting, deplorable, toxic side. It's deplorable. And I'm glad that he came to his senses, even if it took him crying in a corner and finding solitude and strength in his friends. I'm glad that he was able to stand up to you. And that is also reasons why the girls were easier to gravitate to Alyssa over you. Even though Alyssa is ridiculous, they still gravitated to her over you. Hence the reason why you felt like they were taking her side, because they were. Because they like her better than you. Period. Yeah, so that's my review on Married at First Sight, the reunion. And yeah, that's all. Like, this is going to be very simple. Just, I'm glad this season is over. I'm glad that Mike came to his senses. I'm glad that Mark came to his senses. I'm glad that Chris came to his senses very early on. I'm glad that Elijah got better with things. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will speak with you guys later. Bye.